You've probably already seen it all over YouTube. Content creators are talking about how their channels could possibly die in the near future because of COPPA and the changes it's going to bring if it goes through. This is a really serious problem, so please stay with me for a few minutes to share this vital information for everyone who enjoys watching content creators or is a content creator. This isn't just a problem for channels dedicated to toys, animations or cartoons. It's a problem for all, and YouTube could be just the first one in a chain of changes of the internet. For context, COPPA is the abbreviation of Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, a law destined to protect the privacy children under the age of 13 from the compilation of personal info online, executed by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC had a conference to discuss how YouTube broke the COPPA law, and they now wish to make a revision to this law, as a response of complaints that came from groups of parents, to supposedly create a better environment for kids in the platform. Link to this conference on the description. This could sound good in paper, but the reality is much different. For starters, content creators now have the option to mark their videos either as appropriate for kids or not. A video marked for kids won't have notifications, won't have comments, won't be searchable, won't be suggested or recommended, and will make 90% less revenue. So not only a channel will lose almost all of its revenue, but it won't be able to grow any further and will stay stuck in visits and subscribers, and there won't be any possibility to interact with viewers through feedback on the comments. The FTC made a list to take as reference about what content is appealing to children and as such must be marked for kids. And here comes the worst part. If, according to the next list, your video should be marked for kids, but it isn't, you can get fined financially for around $40,000 per video. Yes, not YouTube, not Google, us. The content creators can get fined for such a large sum of money. It doesn't matter if you do it for a hobby or for a living. This is not a joke. This is not a rumor. It's real. The FTC conference made this clear. You may think that as long as your video is not targeted for children and marketed for a mature audience you are safe, but let's take a look about what the FTC thinks is content appealing to kids. Yes, I'm aware that the FTC made a recent clarification to put content creators at ease, and I will address this in a minute. As you can see on the screen, videos that contain subject matter appealing to kids will be affected. This includes kids' jokes, music, kids' games, video or computer games, children's TV shows or stars, cartoon characters, sports, stories, toys, children's books, fantasy, children's arts and crafts, pets and products primarily purchased or consumed by kids like snack food or cereal. You don't have to be an expert to see that everything listed here covers a huge ground because of how generalized it is. First of all, music. What kind of music? If we talk about any kind of music, say, a really depressing song, or a sexual song, it will be marked for kids. Kids' games, and video games. Yeah, a lot of games out there are marketed for children, but this doesn't mean that videos talking about these games are exclusively for kids. Just take a good look at videos of trolling in Club Penguin or Habbo Hotel, or just little reviews of channels that want to feel a little nostalgia. Channels that do let's plays of games like Super Mario Bros., Splatoon, Mario Kart, Pokemon, and similar would also be affected, and they never specify what video games or computer games, so technically speaking, even video games not marketed for children like Until Dawn, Nier Automata, Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, God of War, Devil May Cry and many others could also be affected because they classify as games. Kids' TV shows and cartoon characters. It goes without saying that many channels out there make reviews and analysis of cartoon shows from networks like Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network like SpongeBob or Phineas and Ferb. Again, these videos many times are not intended for children. And what cartoon characters are we talking about? Yeah, characters like Timmy Turner are targeted for children, but anyone can reference this character without doing it for the enjoyment of kids, and characters like Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, Kenny, and others are from cartoons targeted for an adult audience, so if we talk about them or impersonate them or even just put them as an image we could get affected. Anime and manga characters classify as cartoon characters as well, so goodbye reviews from this kind of content as well, and goodbye animators making their original cartoon characters. Even channels that make YouTube poops from any kind of cartoon are going to get affected. And after talking about these points, I don't need to go into much more detail, do I? Toys are not all for children. If we follow this part, you could even review a not safe for work anime figurine and be affected. Pets are not only for children. Videos where cats, dogs, hamsters, bunnies, and others appear can get affected. It doesn't matter if it's a video talking about how these are mistreated or if it's just someone showing the pet to their audience. Fantasy is even a bigger topic. Just mention something like a monster, a miracle, something supernatural, and you already will be affected. Language is also included in the list. Language that is simple enough to be understandable to children 12 and under. Short, colorful descriptions, slang and pop culture phrases. So unless we use formal language most of the time, and actively avoid using slang from our countries, we can get affected. Not even the sound department is safe from this. Audio content appealing to children, such as simple or popular tunes or songs, cartoon voices, childlike noises and sound effects. So almost all kind of music could be affected, even songs you made yourself if it's simple enough by the standards of the FTC, even Despacito for being popular. And finally, visual content like animated characters, bold or fast-moving graphics, or bright and vibrant colors. See any kind of video that uses a layout appealing to the audience's eyes. Everything is wrong here. You can already see how hilariously out of date and ignorant the FTC is about these topics, thinking that something so general must only be for children, and if your video isn't marked as such according to all these vaguely written points, but isn't, you get the fine. I would laugh if I weren't crying by how bad all this is. And this, unlike some YouTube rules that we have been dealing with for a long time, can't be avoided. This isn't as simple as turning the Simpsons' skin color from yellow to green to avoid copyright, because actual human beings from the FTC will be moderating the videos uploaded to the platform. And here is where the previously mentioned clarification made by the FTC comes into play. Since everyone was freaking out about getting fined for their content, the FTC said that our content isn't considered directed for children because some children may see it. They recognize that there can be animated programming that appeals to everyone, and the most important, there are many subject matter categories where you don't have to worry about COPPA depending on what your video is about. I understand that a lot of people feel safer now that this clarification is out, and are fully blaming YouTube for the miscommunication, but this isn't fully their fault. If the FTC was transparent and clear instead of vague since the very start of this controversy, things would have been different, but why weren't they? These are just my 2 cents, but laws can be taken advantage of if they are written vaguely, just how they wrote the list of what's content appealing to kids. The less information you feed everyone, the more control you have them. A so badly written law like this could have the hidden purpose of censoring the internet, just starting with YouTube. After all, it wouldn't be the first time government institutions tried to censor the internet with the pretense of making it a better place. They could just be trying to use YouTube as the first place to try their censorship for previously breaking COPPA. Even if this is not the intention, communication is key in cases like this. And notice how their clarification is still somewhat vague. They mention programming that appeals to everyone, but they never gave the option to mark videos for mixed audiences, either just for kids or not. They didn't mention video games or similar content, and they just refer to many subject matter categories. So, audio, language, visuals are still implicated, even subject matter, because they don't say all. They only say many and not a mention of which ones. The FTC only has around 1,131 employees, while YouTube has around 8,000 channels with more than 1 million subs. Even if they want to inspect what the context of a video was, there's absolutely no way of doing it efficiently with that many resources available. So if the law goes through, there will be many cases where they only are able to check superficially if the video has been marked for kids and if it contains something that makes it attractive kids according to their lists. So the previous clarifications could get invalidated, because of how unrealistic it is for so few employees to be able to check the context of so many channels. On the other hand, they could get help from the YouTube bot or make one of their own, which still doesn't solve the problem. With a list so vaguely written about content appealing to kids, and without a way of automatically checking the context of the content, the bot will be marking thousands of videos on the platform as content appealing to kids. Both of these paths lead to the destruction of the platform. And well, even if you don't care about YouTube because it's a slowly dying platform that was already going to kill itself, I have bad news. YouTube is only the first. Who knows what the FTC have in mind after destroying YouTube? After all, the platform will be no more and kids will head out to others such as Twitch and Mixer to watch live streams of games like Fortnite or Minecraft by streamers that never try to appeal to children. Either parents will go and complain again, or the FTC will act on its own looking at this migration and decide to make these platforms follow these rules as well. And that would be game over. The law will eventually spread everywhere, destroying what is a vital part of what makes the internet today, and no one will be safe. Luckily this time we can fight against it. The FTC opened a comment section where you can submit your thoughts about the new changes of COPPA until December 9th. We have to make clear that these new changes are just too restrictive for content creators everywhere, that most of the content they listed shouldn't be considered as content appealing to only children because of its appeal to mature audiences, that their law is in no way protecting kids or making a better atmosphere for them, because no one will want to make content only for kids if it isn't searchable, and that if they wish to make these changes they should at the very least add an option for mixed audiences instead of only for kids or only for adults. Maybe change.org doesn't sound as an attractive option because of its meme status, but the FTC said that spaces like these are good to let your thoughts be known, so I'll leave the petition against COPPA if you wish to sign it. Finally, share the information with everyone you can. The more people know about the current situation, the more can help. Only us can stop COPPA from destroying YouTube and its content creators completely, and who knows, maybe not only YouTube is on the line this time, but the whole internet.